Alex had been away for over a year. The military had taken him to places far from home, places he could never truly call his own. But now, finally, he was coming back. The excitement was overwhelming. The thought of seeing his mother again, the woman who had raised him single-handedly, who had been both mother and father to him, made his heart race. He had missed her more than words could say. His hometown, a small, peaceful place nestled in the countryside, had always felt like home. It was the place where his mother had worked hard to make sure he had everything he needed, even when times were tough. It was where he learned the value of kindness, of resilience. But now, as Alex drove through the town, something felt off. The streets looked different. The small shops he remembered were either closed or replaced with new, unfamiliar businesses. The quiet neighborhood where he had grown up was now dotted with construction sites and vacant lots. Still, Alex pressed on, determined to see his mother. His eyes scanned the streets as his car hummed along the road, the memories flooding back. He remembered how his mother's laughter always filled their home, how they would talk for hours into the night about anything and everything. She was his rock, his source of strength, and he couldn't wait to walk through the door of their house again. As the familiar landmarks came into view, Alex's anticipation grew. He could already picture her standing on the porch, smiling and waving, as he pulled into the driveway. But something was wrong. The closer he got, the more his gut twisted with unease. Alex turned onto his mother's street, his heart racing with excitement. He passed by the familiar corner store, the old oak tree where he used to play as a child, and the small park where he and his mom had spent so many quiet afternoons. Every corner seemed to whisper a memory, a part of his past that he was eager to relive. But as he neared his mother's house, something didn't feel right. When Alex reached the address, his breath caught in his throat. The house, the one he had spent so many years in, the house filled with memories of his childhood, was gone. In its place was nothing but an empty lot, overgrown with weeds and scattered with broken debris. The porch he used to sit on, the steps he would run up to when he came home from school, it was all gone. The familiar brick walls, the window his mother always kept open to let in the fresh air, nothing remained. Alex blinked, hoping the sight would change, but it didn't. His heart pounded in his chest as he stepped out of the car, convinced he must have taken a wrong turn somewhere. He double-checked the street signs, hoping for some mistake, but they confirmed he was in the right place. His mother's house, the home he had longed to return to, had vanished. In a daze, Alex walked down the street and knocked on a neighbor's door, his voice trembling with confusion. "Hey, can you tell me what happened to my mom's house? It's gone." The elderly woman who answered the door looked at him with wide eyes, but said nothing. She shifted uncomfortably, avoiding his gaze, and mumbled something about the house being sold. "You should check with the town office," she added, quickly closing the door behind her. Alex's stomach twisted as he moved to the next house. Again, no answers. The few neighbors who spoke to him were vague, changing the subject or offering hurried, half-hearted excuses. One man muttered about moving on, while another quickly mentioned things getting complicated, but no one would say anything concrete. The more Alex asked, the more the fear and confusion gnawed at him. Why would his mother's house just disappear? Where was she? What had happened while he was away? With his mind racing and his stomach in knots, Alex decided to go to the local authorities. The town hall was just a short walk from the main street, and he hoped someone there might know what had happened to his mother's house. Maybe they could explain the strange empty lot he had found, but the more Alex thought about it, the more uneasy he became. Something didn't sit right, and the feeling only grew stronger as he entered the town hall. Inside, the building was quiet, almost eerily so. Alex approached the counter where a middle-aged officer sat, shuffling papers. He hesitated for a moment before speaking, trying to stay calm. "Excuse me, I was wondering if you could help me. I came back to visit my mother's house, but when I got there it was gone. I'm looking for answers." The officer looked up, his expression unreadable. He blinked slowly, almost as if he didn't quite hear Alex. That property was sold," the officer mumbled, his gaze shifting nervously. "You should check with the records office for more details." His voice was distant, distracted. Alex wasn't convinced. "Sold? My mom never said anything about moving. She wouldn't just sell the house without telling me." The officer shifted in his chair, clearly uncomfortable. I'm sorry, son, I really don't know anything else about it. You should try the records office. Feeling frustrated, Alex left the building, but his mind was buzzing with questions. Why was everyone so secretive? Why didn't anyone seem willing to give him a straight answer? It was as if they were hiding something, but what? As he walked through the town, trying to make sense of it all, a familiar voice called out his name. Alex, is that really you? He turned to see Jenna, an old friend from childhood, standing on the sidewalk. She looked different, older, more worn, but the smile that crossed her face was genuine. Jenna, it's good to see you, Alex said, trying to smile back. I was just wondering if you knew what happened to my mom's house. It's gone, and no one will tell me anything. Jenna's face faltered for a moment, her eyes flickering with uncertainty. She hesitated, glancing around the street as if making sure no one was watching. I don't know if I should be telling you this, Alex, she said quietly. But you need to be careful. Alex furrowed his brow. What do you mean? Why is everyone acting so strange? Where's my mom? Jenna looked around again, her voice dropping to a whisper. I saw a man, Alex. A strange man. He was here around the time your mom's house was torn down. I don't know who he was, but he wasn't from around here. I think he had something to do with it, something bad. Alex's heart skipped a beat. What do you mean? What happened to my mom? Where is she? Jenna took a deep breath, her face pale. I can't say much more, but I'm telling you, digging into this could make things worse. There are people here who don't want anyone asking questions. Please, just leave it alone. For your own good. The words sent a chill down Alex's spine. Something was definitely wrong, and now he had a feeling it was far more dangerous than he had imagined. His mind raced with possibilities. Was his mother in danger? Had she gotten mixed up in something dangerous? Who was this man Jenna had seen, and what did he have to do with everything? As he watched Jenna disappear down the street, Alex felt a growing sense of urgency. He couldn't just walk away. He had to find his mother, but the deeper he dug, the more it seemed like there were forces at play that he couldn't even begin to understand. He couldn't let fear stop him, though. He had to know the truth, and nothing, not even danger, would make him stop searching. Alex's search for answers had led him deeper into the town's web of secrets. After speaking to a few more locals, the pieces began to fall into place. He learned that his mother, the woman who had been a pillar of the community, had been caught in a long and bitter legal battle over the house. At first, Alex had assumed it was just a normal disagreement, maybe something to do with taxes or property rights. But the more he dug, the more he realized this was far from ordinary. There were rumors, whispers, really about shady business dealings involving a powerful corporation interested in buying up the land where his mother's house had stood. As Alex spoke to one particularly nervous man, who had known his mother well, the truth slowly began to come out. They weren't just buying the property, the man muttered, looking around as though afraid someone might overhear. They were pushing people out. The land, the whole area, it was worth a lot more than anyone realized, and your mom, she wasn't willing to sell. Alex's stomach turned. It all made sense now. The corporation had wanted the land, and they'd used every tactic they could to force his mother into submission, but she had refused. His mother wasn't the type to back down easily, not for anyone. She had always fought for what was right. But when Alex learned that she had disappeared shortly after the house was sold, a cold fear settled in his chest. No one knew where she had gone, or even if she was alive. Her sudden disappearance was treated as just another piece of the town's strange puzzle, but Alex knew in his heart that something far more sinister was at play. His mother had been taken, or worse, and the people who had once surrounded him with kindness had turned their backs on him when he needed them most. As Alex stood alone on the now empty lot, the weight of it all crushed him. This place, his home, had once been filled with laughter, love, and warmth. But now, it felt like a hollow shell, a reminder of everything he had lost. The town that had raised him had become a place of lies, and the people who had once been family had abandoned him. He couldn't trust anyone anymore. The town was not what it seemed. A sharp pang of grief mixed with burning anger swept over him. His mother had fought so hard to protect him, and now she was gone. She had always been his protector, and now he felt like he was failing her. He clenched his fists, desperately wanting to do something, anything, to make sense of it all. Just when Alex thought he couldn't go any further, something caught his eye. Beneath the rubble and broken wood of what had once been his mother's living room, something glimmered faintly. With trembling hands, he dug through the debris, his heart pounding. He didn't know what he was looking for, but somehow, he knew there was something he needed to find, and then, as his fingers brushed against a piece of paper hidden under the floorboards, he pulled out a letter. His mother's handwriting. His heart skipped a beat as he unfolded it and read the words that changed everything. Alex, if you're reading this, it means something has gone terribly wrong. I've had to leave to protect you. The people who bought our land aren't who they say they are. They're dangerous, and they will stop at nothing to get what they want. They think I know too much. I'm doing this for you, my love, to keep you safe. Please understand, and don't try to find me. I'll be waiting for the day you can be free. Tears blurred Alex's vision as he read the letter over and over again. His mother hadn't abandoned him. She had sacrificed everything to protect him from something far worse than he had ever imagined. Now he was more determined than ever to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. Armed with the letter his mother had left behind, Alex felt both the weight of the truth and the fire of resolve burn inside him. He could no longer stand by and let the shadows consume everything he loved. The corporation that had torn his family apart and taken his mother needed to answer for what they had done. He wasn't leaving without the truth, no matter the cost. Alex had spent days researching the corporation, piecing together bits and pieces of the puzzle. It was bigger and more dangerous than he had ever imagined. The company's name was plastered on nearly every new construction in the area, its influence stretching far beyond what appeared on the surface. But as he dug deeper, he began to uncover something far darker. They weren't just buying up land, they were hiding illegal operations beneath the surface, using their acquisitions as a cover. Drugs, human trafficking, money laundering, it was all part of a vast network of corruption, and his mother had unknowingly stumbled upon it. The truth was horrifying. She had found something she wasn't supposed to see, and that was why she had vanished. The corporation had silenced her to protect their criminal empire. Alex's hands trembled as he stood outside the towering glass building that housed the corporation's headquarters. He had made arrangements to meet with one of the executives, a man who had been involved in the land deals that had torn his mother's life apart. His heart pounded in his chest, the weight of everything he was about to confront pressing down on him. Inside, the atmosphere was cold, sterile. The man he had arranged to meet, Gregory Miles, greeted him with a fake smile, his eyes cold and calculating. Alex didn't waste time with pleasantries. "I know what you've been doing," he said, his voice steady but filled with fury, "and I know what happened to my mother. I want answers." Miles' smile faltered, and for the first time, Alex saw a flicker of nervousness in his eyes. "I don't know what you're talking about," he replied smoothly, but there was an edge to his voice. "Your mother was just a part of the business. We made a fair deal." "No," Alex shot back. "You killed her, you took everything from me, and now you'll pay for it." The tension in the room thickened as Alex's words hung in the air. Miles' expression hardened, and he stood up from his desk. "You're making a mistake, son," he said, his tone menacing now. "You don't know what you're dealing with. If you keep pushing, you'll regret it." But Alex wasn't afraid anymore. The grief, the anger, it had all transformed into something stronger, a fierce determination to make sure his mother's sacrifice wasn't in vain. He wasn't going to let them intimidate him. Not anymore. "I'll expose you," Alex declared, his voice unwavering. "I'll make sure everyone knows what you've done, and I'll find my mother dead or alive." Miles chuckled darkly. "You're too late," he sneered. "There's no way out now, you've already gone too far." With those words, Alex realized how deep the danger ran, but it also fueled his resolve. His mother had been silenced to protect a secret, but Alex was determined to unravel it. As he left the building, his mind was clearer than ever. He couldn't do this alone, but he wasn't backing down. There were a few people he could trust, and together they would bring the corporation to its knees. Alex wasn't sure if his mother was still alive, but he was going to fight for her, for the truth, for justice. And he would do whatever it took to tear down the lies they had built. Alex stood at the edge of the empty lot, the place where his mother's house had once stood, and the weight of everything that had happened pressed heavily on him. His heart still ached with the unanswered questions, the uncertainty of where his mother was, and the fury at the injustice he had uncovered. But despite the pain, a new sense of purpose had taken root in him. He had always been a soldier, trained to fight for what was right, to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. But now, he realized, he was no longer just a soldier, he was a man on a mission, one that had nothing to do with the battlefield he had once known. This fight was personal. It was for his mother, for the truth, and for justice. He had made a promise to himself and to her. He would not rest until he uncovered every last secret and exposed the corruption that had stolen her from him. As Alex looked out over the lot, the sun setting behind him, a sense of hope began to replace the bitterness that had taken hold of him. He was no longer alone in this fight. The few trusted people he had found along the way were ready to stand beside him, and together they would bring the truth to light. His journey was far from over. The road ahead would be long and dangerous, but Alex had never been more determined. He would find his mother, and he would make sure that no one else ever had to suffer the way she had. The fight for justice had only just begun, and he was ready. As Alex stands at the edge of the empty lot, a place once filled with love and memories, he knows the fight is far from over. His journey to uncover the truth about his mother's disappearance, and the dangerous secrets that lie beneath the surface has just begun. Fueled by love, determination, and the promise to never give up, Alex will stop at nothing to bring justice to those responsible. His story is a reminder that even in the face of loss, there's always hope, and the fight for what's right is worth every sacrifice. If you've been moved by Alex's story, and want to see more real, heartfelt journeys like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share this video with someone who believes in the power of perseverance, and together let's keep fighting for justice, one story at a time.